The celestial harmony drifted through the void, its hull scarred by micrometeor impacts and plasma burns. Inside the crippled vessel, Honey pressed her three-fingered hand against the wall panel, her bioluminescent spots flickering weakly beneath her damaged environmental suit. "Harry," she gasped through the comm system, her voice strained. I need help." Harry turned from the emergency console, where he'd been rerouting power to life support. The human's face was smudged with grease and sweat, his brown eyes immediately focusing on his Zilthari crewmate. They'd been partners for 3 standard cycles now, ever since the Galactic Coalition had started its integration initiative, pairing humans with alien species to foster cooperation. "What's wrong?" Harry asked, moving toward her with that peculiar human grace that always seemed too fluid for a species from a death world. "My armor. The regulator is failing. I can't breathe properly. The pressure." Honey's spots dimmed further, shifting from their usual azure to a sickly purple. "I need you to detach the chest plate. Manual release." Harry's expression shifted to something Honey had learned to recognize as concern. On her homeworld of Zilthar, with its low gravity and oxygen-rich atmosphere, breathing was effortless. But here, in the metal corridors of a damaged ship limping toward the nearest station, her suit was all that kept her alive. "Are you sure?" Harry moved closer, his hands already reaching for the manual release clasps. "The atmospheric pressure in here—" "I know the risks," Honey interrupted, her voice barely a whisper. "But if the regulator fails completely, the feedback will rupture my respiratory membranes. At least this way, I have a chance." Harry nodded once, that decisive human gesture that meant commitment. His fingers found the first clasp on her armor's chest plate. "On 3, 1, 2." The clasp released with a hiss, then the second, the third. As Harry pulled the chest plate away, Honey felt the ship's atmosphere hit her like a physical blow. The pressure was immense. What humans considered normal was nearly crushing to her delicate physiology. Her respiratory slits flared, trying desperately to filter the thick, oxygen-poor air. She collapsed. Harry caught her before she hit the deck, his arms wrapping around her thin frame with surprising gentleness. For a creature from Earth, a planet so hostile that merely existing there required adaptations that terrified most of the galaxy, humans could be remarkably tender. "Stay with me, Honey," Harry said, lowering her carefully to the floor. "I've got you." Honey's vision swam. She could feel her respiratory system struggling, each breath a labor that sent shooting pains through her thorax. This was it. She'd made a mistake. The suit's regulator might have failed eventually, but at least it would have given her more time. Now she was drowning in air too heavy, too thick. But then something unexpected happened. Harry positioned himself behind her, his back against the wall, and pulled her against his chest. His arms wrapped around her midsection, just below where her primary respiratory slits were located. What are you doing?" Honey managed to gasp. "Something I learned in combat medic training," Harry replied. His voice was calm, steady, that infuriating human ability to remain composed even when everything was falling apart. "Your species breathes differently than ours, but the principle is the same. You need help moving air through your system." His hands pressed against her thorax in a rhythmic pattern. Press, release, press, release. Each compression matched her struggling breaths, helping to force the heavy air through her respiratory slits and into her oxygen absorption chambers. "The pressure here is too much for you," Harry continued, his voice a low rumble she could feel vibrating through his chest. "But if I can help you regulate the intake, create a rhythm, your body might adapt. Humans were good at adapting. Maybe I can help you do the same." Honey wanted to tell him it was hopeless, that Zilthari physiology simply couldn't handle Deathworld conditions. But as Harry continued his steady compressions, matching and guiding her breathing, something remarkable began to happen. Her respiratory slits started to close partially, restricting the intake of the heavy atmosphere. It was an involuntary response, her body trying to protect itself, but with Harry's help regulating the flow, it actually worked. Less air, but more controlled. Her absorption chambers began to process the oxygen more efficiently. "That's it," Harry encouraged, his compressions never faltering. "Your body knows what to do. You're tougher than you think." Minutes passed, then an hour. Harry never stopped, never complained about the strain on his arms, never suggested giving up. His hands maintained their steady rhythm, a metronome of survival. Honey's spots slowly began to shift from purple back toward blue. "How?" she whispered. "How can you keep doing this? Your muscles must be screaming." She felt Harry's chest move in what might have been a quiet laugh. "Honey, I'm from Earth. Do you know what humans do for fun on Earth? We climb mountains where the air is so thin it can kill us. We dive into oceans where the pressure would crush most species. We run marathons in deserts that would bake a Thorian warrior in his own shell." He paused, his compressions never stopping. "My arms hurt, yeah, but pain is just information. It's telling me I'm still alive, still able to help. I can keep going as long as you need me to." "Why?" Honey asked. It was a question she'd been wondering since she first met Harry, since the first time she'd seen him lift equipment that should have required a loading mech, since she'd watched him eat foods that were technically classified as toxic. Why are humans like this? Harry was quiet for a moment, his hands still working their steady rhythm against her thorax. "Because we come from a world that tried to kill us every single day. Predators, diseases, natural disasters, climate extremes, Earth threw everything at us. But we didn't just survive, we thrived. And somewhere along the way, we learned something important." "What?" Honey's breathing was easier now, her body slowly adjusting to the heavy atmosphere with Harry's help. "That survival isn't about being the strongest or the fastest. It's about endurance, persistence, and sometimes it's about helping someone else endure until they find their own strength." The ship's emergency lights flickered, then stabilized. Somewhere in the distance, Honey heard the backup systems coming online. Harry's earlier repairs were working. "The navigation computer is back up," Harry noted, though his hands never ceased their compressions. "We should reach the station in about 6 hours." "You're going to keep doing this for 6 more hours?" Honey asked, incredulous. "As long as you need me to," Harry replied simply. "Though I think your body is adapting faster than you realize. Feel your respiratory rate." Honey focused inward and realized he was right. Her breathing was becoming more regular, more efficient. Her body was learning to handle the pressure, using Harry's guided rhythm as a template. "Humans have this saying," Harry continued. "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Turns out it's not just about humans. You're adapting, Honey. Your body is learning. By the time we reach the station, you might not even need your armor in standard atmosphere anymore." "That's impossible," Honey protested. But even as she said it, she knew it wasn't. She was feeling it happen. Her respiratory slits had found a new equilibrium. Her absorption chambers were processing oxygen at a rate she'd never achieved before. Harry's relentless, patient assistance had given her body the time and support it needed to evolve, right here, right now. "Impossible is just a word," Harry said. "On Earth, we've got bumblebees that technically shouldn't be able to fly according to old physics calculations, but nobody told the bees. We've got people who have survived falls from airplanes, who have climbed Mount Everest without oxygen, who have done things that should have killed them. Biology is more flexible than we give it credit for." Another hour passed, then 2. Harry's compressions gradually became gentler, less frequent, as Honey's body took over more of the work itself. But he never stopped completely, never let her face the challenge alone. "Harry," Honey said quietly. "Yeah. When we get back to Coalition Command, and they ask for our mission report, can we maybe not mention that you turned me into a Deathworld species?" She felt his chest vibrate with genuine laughter this time. "Deal, but for the record, you did most of the work. You had the strength in you all along, I just helped you find it. Is that another human saying? Nah, that one's all mine. The station appeared on their view screen 3 hours later, its lights a beacon of civilization in the dark. By then, Honey was breathing on her own, her armor lying discarded on the deck beside them. Harry finally lowered his arms, flexing his fingers slowly. "How do you feel?" he asked. Honey stood carefully, testing her new capabilities. The heavy atmosphere that would have crushed her hours ago now felt manageable, almost normal. Her spots glowed a brilliant azure, brighter than they'd been in cycles. "Strong," she said, turning to look at Harry. The human was massaging his forearms, grimacing slightly. "You're in pain." "It'll pass," Harry said with a shrug. "Totally worth it." Honey extended her hand, helping Harry to his feet. The human took it, letting her pull him up, and she realized with a start that she actually had the strength to do it now. Breathing properly, oxygenating efficiently, her muscles were already responding to the improved conditions. "Thank you," she said simply. "You saved my life." Harry smiled, that peculiar human expression that somehow conveyed warmth, friendship, and a touch of mischief all at once. That's what partners do. Besides, now you're officially a Deathworlder too. Welcome to the club. As the Celestial Harmony docked with the station, Honey looked at her damaged armor one last time, then at Harry. The human was already moving toward the airlock, ready to face whatever came next with that boundless, inexplicable optimism his species was known for. She'd asked him to detach her armor so she could breathe. What happened next was that she'd learned the most important lesson about humans. They didn't just survive the impossible. They taught others how to do it too. And in doing so, they made the galaxy a little bit stronger, one breath at a time.